I was a friend of mine.
Courtney, thank you for joining me this morning. I know it's pretty early, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
I wonder if you could, for the folks that don't know you and are listening, if you wanted to introduce yourself, kind of what your art is, and how are you doing this morning?
Sure. My name's Courtney. I'm the lead singer of Not Your Ex-Lover. I am a songwriter and I guess a composer since I write the songs.
Sweet.
And I'm tired as fuck. I am a night owl. I like to be awake between 2 and 5 a.m. So being awake at 9 is really hard.
So grateful that you made it today. Yeah.
I was just like, I need to be on this podcast.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so to have you. And yeah, I guess we can flow into it. I'm curious, it's really beautiful because the first show I ever shot was y'all's show at M&J's, and I believe that was pretty close to the beginnings of y'all as a band.
That was our first paid gig.
Oh, epic.
Yeah.
How long has it been since you started?
So that was like 2023.
Yeah, November.
Yeah, so we started in May 30th, M&J's open mic. I was like, we gotta find an open mic that it has a big space. And so I walked in at like 6 or something, or 7, and CJ's there, and you've been to M&J's, Mike's there, and I'm like, hi, my name's Courtney, we're gonna set up our entire band to do this. And he's like, well, I don't know about that. I was like, it'll be fine. And I just did it. And we set up our drums and everything, and we just played for whoever was there. And luckily CJ, the bartender there, she's amazing. She was like, hey, you guys rock. Do you want to play a show next week? Because I'm pretty sure it was sooner than that. It was Mitchapalooza.
Oh.
But maybe it was a later show. We played at M&J's a lot that year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So one of those M&J shows are kind of a blur.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show that we played was really fun.
How'd it go? Yeah.
It was great, yeah. I feel like even though we hiccuped a lot that year, we really found our groove and like the ability to trust ourselves and each other. That we can do it. Just like, even if you mess up, just keep going. Nobody noticed, you know? Like, I mean, all 4 of us are, well, all 3 of us in the band are really new to bands. Julio's been playing her whole life, so.
She rips on the guitar.
She rips on the guitar. But I think this one was new for her too, because it's like all women. And so we're just like figuring out our place. So I think it was a good year for that.
That makes sense. And had y'all been playing, I'm sure you were like practicing for a bit of time before then?
We started in the winter of 2022. Just me, Kiki, and Rhea. And we were kind of just like in the garage every month, like once a month, just kind of meeting up and being like, let's try. And we were just like, literally, we didn't know what we were doing. It was bad.
Were you writing songs at that point? Or
I have
just...
always been writing songs.
Oh, cool.
I've been writing music since I was like 12.
Oh, no way.
Some of the songs that we perform, I wrote when I was 16.
Damn.
Yeah, like I just have like stacks of binders of just like the free flow of my teenage mind, and I just pick and choose little like phrases and sometimes full songs.
Whoa.
So I've been doing this a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And has your creative practice like stayed similar to how it's been, or have you developed since you started like officially in the band?
I think it ebbs and flows because when I was 16, I really didn't have a filter. I was like scared of what people would like perceive me as when they read it, but like I didn't think that anyone was gonna read it. I had confidence that I could keep them all safe, so I just free flowed, said whatever I wanted, and I feel like as an adult, you kind of get more restricted because you learn that people will judge you on the things that you say. So yeah, I feel like I went through my 20s pretty like quiet and closeted, and then I was like, man, I had a really shitty breakup, and I was like, I could tell someone about this, but like, I don't want to just talk to someone. So I brought out this like huge Casio piano I got for Christmas one year, never touched it. I had like 5 years before I touched it. And yeah, I just started like I just went on Google and printed out chords and just started learning and writing my own stuff.
Epic.
Finally putting it to music. I've never had music before that.
And before this band, was it pretty much all you did was solo stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never had a band before this. I have a hard time like connecting with people. Like I'm in my head a lot. I have like people anxiety, so I'm like, was that weird? Did I say that? Like, oh shit, like there was something way cooler I could have said. But I feel like I just had kind of like a turning point in 2021 where I like actually got 5150. I'm getting real. Do you know what that is?
I think I do, but could you explain it anyways?
For the folks at home, getting 5150 means you have like serious ideations of suicide, and so your therapist sends you to a hospital so that you are contained and safe. So after I got out of that, I was kind of just like, fuck, Western medicine is not going to save me. Like that is not a place I want to be, and not a place that wants to really heal me. It just wants to get me back to like normal level that I'm not like causing disruption. So yeah, I was living on a farm in Terrebonne, my family's farm, and it was a beautiful day when I got out, and it was hot in the middle of summer. And I just looked out at the field and I was like, I don't think I've ever said yes to life.
Whoa.
And so now I'm gonna say yes and see what comes. And yeah, I really just started like writing music. I had like met a guy who was in a band in Portland that really like inspired me to be like, oh, this guy sucks. This guy is a nerd. This guy is so socially awkward, but he gets on stage and everyone thinks he's the coolest guy in the world. And I was like, that facade, like if he can do it, like I'm actually nice and cool. Like we can do this, like, and so yeah, then I started like having the vision of the band, writing more songs, and he specifically was like, oh, that's a fun project, but it's not really like a band, it's not like a serious band, it's like a little like girl pop band, and I was just like, fuck you. And yeah, I found the girls online, and I just put out an Instagram post and was like, hey, I want an all-women band. Who wants to play? And Kiki hit me up and was like, I have drums. And I was like, sick. And Raya's like, what do you need? I will play anything. And I was like, sick. Bass? And she's like, I will go buy one right now. And she did.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we started messing around. It was so rough. And then this guy broke up with me on my birthday 2 weeks before our first gig, which was in the night market. And I was like, whoa, I could really fall apart right now. And I did for a couple days. And then I kind of just like snapped myself out of it. And I was like, it was like Edna Mode and The Incredibles, like pull yourself together. Like this is a boy. And I liked him a lot, but I didn't really like him. So I was like, what can I do to like change my way of thought? I found The Secret. Do you remember that from like 2006?
The song?
No, it was a book, and now it's like a video. It's like affirmation, like
I don't think I do.
pretty much just like believing that anything is possible and just like putting your whole pussy into it.
Epic.
And that's what I did. Every time I thought of him, I was like, nope, what can I do for the band? What would be productive for the band right now? What would be productive for me? So yeah, every time I told all the girls, I was like, we're not speaking his name anymore. Like I had my tears about it, I cried about it. Other than through the music, we're not talking about him. And yeah, it was great. I channeled a lot of that rage into some of our music, Expose being one, which the catch is at least I'm not an asshole.
It's a good song.
So yeah, we got some good fuel out of that. So I think that was like a big like catalyst for the band, was doing that. And then obviously we found Julio along the way, and that just made it all come together.
Absolutely, that makes sense. It's interesting. It sounds like the support you specifically, or maybe lack of support that you didn't have with him, and then that like change of mindset into being more motivating. How has that impacted, I guess, the way that you maybe see community or look for connection like now? Because it seems like quite important in how y'all relate as a band and to like the larger community.
Yeah, I think before this, I've never had a group of girlfriends. Like, I've had one good friend for like a couple years, and then something happened. So I feel like finding this band, it was really like, whoa, we can have sisterhood and friendship, and this kind of friendship isn't temporary like a relationship could be or can be. So I really was just like, wow, I can like lean on these people, and like I've never been able to do that before. So I think that made me feel safe in my creative space to like, yeah, just start something different.
Oh, big. And then as far as the process of like songwriting goes, I guess part of that trust, do you kind of have a vision for what those songs will be in the different instruments, or is there like freedom for folks to kind of play into it?
Totally, there's like so much freedom. I really just bring the bones. Like I bring an acoustic song to them, and then they're like, yeah, maybe not, or like, oh yeah, this sounds like the band. And like sometimes I have certain like they make fun of me all the time because I'm like, it needs to be like this, and Kiki's like, oh yeah, does it on the drums? You know how to do that? So I have an idea. Most of the time I'm like, I want it to build here and then stop, and then we wait for 3 seconds, and then we come back in with Ray on the bass. Like I do have some of those, but sometimes we just play it, and I mean, I never have to give Julio direction other than like, can you do that one thing here? But yeah, I really am so novice at instruments that like I only got the bare bones in the songs, the lyrics, you know.
Yeah, it's fascinating though, because I think something with, I play some music too, and I get caught in my head of that like I'm not good enough at the instrument first. What are your like strategies, tactics, or like how do you just kind of continue and like show up and do the on stage performance thing, or like do you get caught up in the like narrative of like I could be better or anything like that?
Oh, I feel like I can always improve. There's always room for improvement. I never feel like I'm perfect or like an expert at anything. So I kind of just like come into it very humbly of like, I don't play guitar. This is not my first language, and I'm gonna mess up. I mess up every show, like, but nobody notices, you know, like you can't really hear it. Someone once compared me to Courtney Love because they say that she just gets lost in the mix in her guitar, and I'm like, that's where I like to be.
Yeah.
I don't want you to hear me so much. But I also know that practice makes perfect, and I'm constantly practicing, so I'm always getting better.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. It seems like yeah, the humility there is such an important piece. And does it get easier in your experience, like, or is it still like that, oh man, I just messed up as you're playing?
Sometimes you can't let it though. You can't think about it because then you'll forget your words, and then you'll forget the next chord progression, and it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
You kind of just have to be like, all right, like I feel like with chords, like I'll mess up and I'll just like wait until I get back to the beginning, and no one really cares or notices. The girls will notice, but and I'll notice, but
it's the kind of like almost like acting like nothing happened because it's like a unique version of that song that it's fun.
None of our songs are the same ever.
And then it's funny because from like the video side of things, I noticed that whenever I'm shooting something, as soon as I start thinking too much about it, like it's almost impossible to get the take. You know what I mean?
You're like, oh, this is gonna happen, so I want to be here, and then like live music's unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that was the cool thing about the music video that we did, because it was so free form, and it was like there was no right way to do it, and therefore it like just existed as it was. So it was super fun to put that one together.
Yeah, that was such a blast. I think we're still like on a high from that.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like the theme of the band, just existing as we are, and like I really love that you just like caught us laughing and having fun, because like that is the band. And I would love to do some more serious music videos, but I just think us having fun is like what brings people in. They like see we're having a good time, and they're like, oh, like let's all have a good time, let's join in.
Yeah, it's such a powerful message too, because I guess so many folks are like striving for perfection, or like trying to, I don't know, be like the best at something. And there's something so humbling and also pretty real about it seems like more so just continuously doing the thing and being like not great at it, at the end of the day will always get further than someone who's not doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? That's just, I don't know, maybe that's math or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, girl.
Yeah. So, musician
Artist.
math, right? I don't like numbers that much, so. With that said, I guess I'm wondering, like, what is y'all's, or do you have a vision in it being so free flow? Do you have a vision of like what you want the project to become?
Definitely. As like lax and cool as we are, I'm very type A, and so like I have big dreams for us. I hope that we go on tour like nationwide. We're hoping to go to Japan and go on tour. Like there's some cool things in the works that you just don't see. Like we do have a manager that we met who came to us the first year we were performing. He saw us at Roots Fest, and he's just like some dude. And he hit me up on Facebook and was like, "Hi, my name's Ryan. I think you guys are great. I'd love to help you record. I know it's expensive. What do you say?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, like, I hate boys." So we met up with him, and I was like, "Man, I get a good vibe from this guy." And shit, I'm so glad I trusted my instinct because he's helped us out so much.
Incredible.
He's very business savvy, so which I'm just like, I have merch. And he's like, "Cool, let's put it online and like try to market it this way." And yeah, it's just kind of like I have a little bit of like controlled chaos, and he's like, "Cool, let's funnel it this way." So it's helpful to have a little bit of control.
Especially in the like direction that it's going, because it's one thing to have the vision, it's another thing to like figure out how to get towards it.
Yeah.
And at least be like continuously going in the right direction. That's a skill in itself.
Yeah, I think right now we're focusing on our next record, which we'll record in June.
Cool.
With a female producer in Portland. So that's really exciting. And then we are also in the middle of filming a documentary.
Oh, sick. I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's on the hush. But yeah, so we have big dreams for this and want it to be documented, and I feel like that's kind of the way to do it. You just kind of like fake it till you make it. Like, who am I, this random human on this earth? Why do I need a documentary? I don't, but like, you make a documentary and people will be like, "Oh shit, this must be a band," and it's like, yeah,
absolutely.
We are a band.
Well, it's interesting too, because it's, I guess the question, from this, it seems like touring and like making all of your all's income off of music would be the goal.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there's so many incredibly talented musicians or songwriters or whatever, and I always ask that question of like, well, what makes one band popular, right, versus another? And to some degree I do think it is the like marketing, or like what's your reach. Do you have any, I guess, like opinions on that, or like how much does the music matter? That's a weird question, but yeah.
I feel like social media is a big part of it, unfortunately. I'm kind of like good at it. I don't know why. I'm just on the internet a lot, so I'm just like, I feel like I can just like find the things that, I don't know, I really focus on capturing the realness and the silliness and people like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of where we're catching our audience, is like we post the bloopers and the weird outtakes and us being silly, and they're like, "Oh, they're just people." And then we get on stage and they're like, "Whoa, I feel like I know them because we bared our souls online," and like I already got weird with them, you know?
Absolutely, yeah, and it's that like the humanness aspect, I think, because it is cool, I think, because I follow y'all, and seeing what you post, it's pretty damn accurate to how you are in person too.
Yeah.
And I think that's really relevant in the way that we like build trust with people, which when someone goes to your show, when you start speaking, it's not this like, whoa, you know, who are you?
Yeah.
It's just a continuation of the person that they already know, which is kind of weird if they've never met you before. And also so cool.
Yeah. No, I've, since we've been playing for like, this will be our third year playing, I have people come up to me all the time and be like, "Oh, you're not your ex-lover." And I love that because I've seen celebrities and been like, "They are God, I cannot talk to them," you know? Like, saw Tyler, the Creator, once, and I was like, "I'm not gonna talk to him because he's gonna yell at me or say something weird." I don't want to make a fool of myself, but like, I feel like because we make fools of ourselves all the time, people feel comfortable to come up to us, and that's where we can make a genuine connection.
That's what's up. And are there any points that you've had, or shows or opportunities that you felt like has gained the most traction for you all?
Oh yeah, I would say last year we got to play Pride, and we got to play Munchin Music, and those two were so big for us. We got such big reach, especially Munchin Music, because that's not necessarily our audience that usually comes to M&J's or Silver Moon. That was in broad daylight. So yeah, we got to play with the Dandy Warhols, and so we kind of got like similar crowds coming in for them, and then they saw us and they were like, oh shit, this is in our town? And I'm like, yeah. So that was really cool. I was really stoked on that one.
That's what's up. I know, I got to shoot that one, and the
Yeah.
Dandy Warhols are so funny. They're wonderful people.
They're so cool people. Like, we got to hang with them a little after, and they were just like so nice, so welcoming, and like Zia is like the coolest chick around. So yeah, it was really like inspiring to be like, wow, these people have been around a long time and they're famous and cool and just so down to earth and chill. Like, KOURTNi was super awesome and spent some time talking to me, and like we both have the same name, which was fun. But yeah, like it was really cool to be like, ooh, we're doing it. We're like mingling with the big guys.
It's so interesting because in that way, I notice this a lot where it's, and I talked about this in business with other people, where it's like the art isn't, or the work isn't different. It's just on like a different stage. What's your impression of that? And also like, what level do you think you're like ready to play at?
Yeah, I think.
Or is there a ready to play at?
I think we rise to every occasion. We got invited to Tree Fort last year, and we showed up kind of just like so novice. We played in Bend at that point. We had no out of town shows. So we showed up and we were watching all these people play, and we were like, we're here. We got accepted amongst all these amazing bands who were just like giving it their all and killing it. And we came home from just an epic day, and we played the next day. We all kind of sat around and we were like, we gotta bring it like we've never brought it before tomorrow. Like, we saw this band Kiss the Tiger, and the lead singer of that, she is like doing acrobats on stage. She's just singing, giving it like her whole heart, and we were like, that's our inspiration. And so yeah, we just went out there and killed it, and I felt like that was one of our best performances, because we were just like, nobody knows us here, let's show them who we are.
Absolutely.
You know, so I feel like, yeah, we get to play Tree Fort again this year, and we just got our stages, and we're playing the Shredder, which is so cool. They got a big sign behind you that says fuck, and if the sound guy likes you, he like hits the fuck button and it like flashes, and so we're like, I hope he hits the button.
Epic.
But yeah, we got on some really cool stages, so bigger stages than we've ever had, and I think we're ready for it, you know, like I think we're ready for the next step up.
That's what's up. It's cool. I think that one of the things I noticed with y'all in particular, because I shoot so like plenty of bands, is like stage presence. And I think that y'all have it's very like active in like the engagement level. Is that something that you like practiced, or is it something that came like more naturally to you?
I did practice it a lot. Like when we first started, I was living out in Terrebonne in a trailer, and so I had this big deck, and I would just bring my mic stand and just roll around on the deck in the blistering heat and just sing at the top of my lungs. Like I remember like looking over sometimes, and my dad's just like as he's working on cars over in the garage, just like, doing great, honey. That was fucking sad. But yeah, I really just like, I don't know, filmed myself doing it. So like, that was the beginning of it. Now I feel so much more comfortable just to like improvise on the spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had it all choreographed in the beginning, because I had never been on stage before like that. Like my solo performances before were me behind a piano, and I had my sheet music in front of me, so you really couldn't see me. So yeah, that was my first time just like not behind an instrument, just like this is me. I gotta do something.
Was it difficult to watch back the videos, or was it?
Constructive.
Yeah.
It was good. I was like, well, it's like no one's gonna see them, you know. So I'm just like, ooh, that was not a good angle. Like, what are you doing? And then yeah, it's just like trial and error. And I think the biggest hurdle was I went to band practice like a week before the show, and I was like, I've been practicing choreography and I'm gonna do stuff, and we're all on the floor and I need you guys not to laugh at me. And they were like, okay, we're gonna laugh at you, but keep going, you know, like we all gotta get used to it. And so I would just do the choreography on the ground in Rhea's garage, and we all kind of got over it, and like I think they all have the consensus that I'm a bit dramatic, but that's what brings the stage presence. It's just like the theatrics about it.
Absolutely. I think sometimes it feels, at least this is my impression, that it's like almost like too much, but I feel like the reminder of like that as an audience member, it's like if it's what you're doing, then it's never too much, because that is the presence that you bring. But it is funny, the like internal narratives we tell ourselves, and it's always interesting, and it sounds like a helpful experience to like shake out the laughs maybe, or the like kind of anxiety around that pre-show.
Well, and it's really important to practice the things that you're doing, especially if you're playing an instrument. Sometimes I drop to my knees, and like even when I'm just singing, like dropping to your knees gives you a different like in your voice, and so you have to learn how to like work around that or time it right so that you're not like breaking your voice, you're maintaining your craft, your singing, you know?
Absolutely. It's funny, I feel like, what was it? I watched like a way back, like a Beyonce video of her training for like her physical training that went into some show that she was doing.
Yeah.
And it was like really intensive. She was like on a treadmill. I'm pretty sure it was Beyonce, like on a treadmill singing. And I was like, I like went and tried it just like to goof around. And I was like, oh, that is so much more difficult than I thought.
Totally.
Yeah.
I watched this band this summer, and the guy jumps while he sings, which is so hard because of the voice thing, and also like your guitar is moving. And so when I'm at home practicing, I'm jumping, I'm walking, I'm like trying to figure out how to do the things like Julia can jump off of our amps and be totally fine, but like it took me a while to be able to like learn how to get down and like lean backwards and keep playing, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's so funny when people like they'll throw the guitar behind their head or something.
Does it.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, that's so cool.
She's just so skilled. Yeah, like we love Julia. She can really bring the theatrics, and sometimes like she doesn't do it at band practice all that often. She does more now, but so sometimes she'll just like throw out a behind the head, like pointing at her girlfriend, and I'm like, where did that come from? Rock star, okay. Like, I might be the lead singer, but Julia's definitely the star.
That's awesome, yeah. And you'll bring like each other, like every piece of it. It's really cool, and I think goes back to earlier in the conversation where it's like y'all are each like very individual, like you're unique individuals, and so it's really cool to like see how that all brings together and becomes like that fluid entity. Because I don't know, I feel like that to be a band is so much different than to be like a singer-songwriter or anything like that. And then this is kind of random, but it sounds like, or maybe, do any of you have like professional or like training or like official training? What is that called? Like lessons and stuff like that, or is it also taught? Yeah.
That's it.
Wild.
Yeah. Julia has been playing like violin since she was like 4 or 5. Like she's been playing guitar and violin for a very long time. So I'm sure she had lessons when she was younger. I took a lesson when I was 12, and he was like, cut your nails, and I was like, no. And so I never played guitar. But yeah, I've had like 1 or 2 lessons, but it's all self-taught. I feel like I have a hard time listening to people, and so when I'm doing it myself, it might take a little longer, but I can, it's less friction. It's the people thing again.
Yeah, it's like you'll get there, you know?
Yeah. So.
That's so real. And then, so you also do solo stuff too?
Occasionally.
What is your relationship to that, and how does it differ from the band stuff? Is it a priority?
I hate doing solo stuff. I love the band, and that feels like when I'm playing solo, I miss everybody. Like I just feel like I'm meant to be in a band. Like I shine better with them. You know, I love being solo and like it's alright, but I'm not as proficient on my craft. So like my boyfriend is so good at guitar and he can do solo and it sounds like so full. But I'm playing it, I'm like, these are the chords, baby. There's 4 of them, they're going all the whole time. So yeah, I feel like I'm boring solo. So
is that something that you want to improve on or anything like that, or do you think maybe that'll come with time?
yeah, I think it's getting better and better. I did a show in Portland not too long ago, a solo show, and it was probably my best solo show. I took my electric guitar this time. I just don't think I'm an acoustic girly. It makes me feel like I'm someone I'm not. I have a really deep connection with my electric guitar, so I feel like we really brought it there.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's funny, I have many guitars, but the first guitar I ever bought myself, I think I was given like some small acoustic or whatever, but was this electric. And it's so interesting, like the way that the instrument changes how you play music.
Definitely.
And I mean, to a degree that it took me a while to like really understand that. I was like, oh wow, if I try to play this song on my like nylon string acoustic electric, which is a really cool guitar, but like it sounds like a completely different song and it brings out like a different voice and all of that stuff. So that makes sense to me of like, I read a quote, I think it was like Miles Davis or something. He was like, sometimes it takes a long time of playing to sound like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and when you can hit that stride, whether it's by yourself or with a band, man, there's something so cool about that, you know, and it really does feel like a piece of identity in it.
I feel like that because sometimes I get stuck like in a songwriting rut, and so I'll like I don't do it often, but I go back to the piano, and I'm like I can play much more proficiently on the piano, so I'll just start like playing stuff, and I'm like, ooh, that was good, and then I'll transpose it to guitar and be like, okay, these are new chords, because I was playing it on the piano, and so it sounds different, and then it kind of just like reignites it, and I'm like, oh, I can write something new.
Would you ever play piano with the band, or does it feel...
We are talking about synth.
Yeah.
Putting a synth in there.
Cool.
I'd be down to do that. I had a pivotal moment in my solo career when I was doing it in like 2018-19. I think it was like 2019, right before the shutdown. I had a solo gig in Portland at the Secret Society bar, which is now shut down. And I was leaving and they were like, you need to use the artist entrance. And I was like, okay. It was down the fire escape on the side of a 3-story building with my 100-pound weighted keyboard. And I'm like a tiny girl. And so I'm like coming down this thing, like trying not to fall over the edge or drop my instrument. And I was like, this is the last show I do with the keyboard, and it was.
That feels illegal.
It feels illegal. I was like, why aren't there any boys here? But like that's the thing about male musicians. Like, I've met a great handful of good ones, but like a lot of them kind of give me that like, oh, if you want to be here, like do it yourself. Like at the Capitol, I played a show with my piano, and I was like, hey, is there anyone that could help me like bring my keyboard down? Because like you've been there, it's like down the stairs. I didn't know there was an elevator at the time. Nobody told me.
There's an elevator there?
Yeah, it's for like handicap purposes, but like bands can use them if they have a lot of gear. And so I asked the bouncer, I was like, hey, can you help me like bring my stuff down? And he's like, no, that's your job. And I was like, fuck. Like, all right. Well, kind of just like, okay.
Huh. That's wild. It's interesting, like the industry, and I guess if you want to speak to this at all too, like the community that exists in Bend doesn't seem, for the most part, like that.
Maybe.
we can skip over that one too.
I've had some like malicious moments, or like maybe they weren't malicious, but they like turned pretty ugly with like some men in town, and like I don't know. I feel like being a woman and being who I am specifically, I have to speak up for myself, and if things don't feel right, I'm gonna say something, and men do not like that, and they do not like being called out, and they don't like to be held accountable, and I'm someone that like if I do something wrong, please tell me so that I can like fix it, or like we can like talk about it. So like in a couple instances I've gone up to guys and been like, hey, you did this, I didn't like it, next time please approach it like this. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to be any different than who I am. And I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. Like, I'm telling you, I do not like the way that you approached me in this. Approach me differently next time, or don't approach me at all. And a lot of them don't approach me anymore.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Accountability, man.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, like, it's really difficult, at least for me, to, like, go up to someone and say that.
But it's harder for me to sit with it and be like, I should have said something. Like, it's easier to, like, approach it right then and there than, like, me come back a week later and be like, remember what happened that one time a week ago? And people are like, why is this still bothering you? And, like, I know myself pretty well now to know that what's gonna bother me in the middle of the night. And so, yeah, there's just, like, some situations that I'm like, ooh, this feels so disgusting, and it's not mine to sit with. So I need to let this person know that they harmed me, even if it's not super harmful, but it was like, you icked me out, bro. Like, do you want to do that to other people? So, and unfortunately, yeah, like, that kind of bites me in the ass sometimes personally, but I hope that me speaking up, even though I'm ostracized from that situation now, like, me speaking up may change how they react to someone else or they treat someone else. So I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. No, it makes sense to me. I think accountability is such maybe a hot topic right now, at least in my world. And it's fascinating because it does seem like, I asked the question, like, okay, what's like the kindest thing to actually do? And it really, in my opinion, it would be to, like, tell someone what's up or how you felt, and then hopefully for them to reflect on it and then make their choice, right? Whether it impacts them or not. But it does seem like an important piece of that, and an important piece of your artistic journey, from at least what I can tell, is in, like, finding your voice and learning to, like, who you are, and also, like, saying what you feel without the I guess, like, holding back to a degree.
I think for me it's really about authenticity. Like, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that I'll be like, hot girls punch Nazis, like, men have the right to shut the fuck up. Like, I am like that. And if there's, like, a moment where someone is being racist or misogynistic, I'm gonna say something. And I feel like a lot of the time I, like, see this moment happening where someone says something just, like, off the wall, and I kind of look around and people are uncomfortable, but no one wants to say anything, and I'm like, that was racist. And then, like, see how they take it. And a lot of times they get defensive, you know, and I'm like, not trying to, like, call you out or embarrass you, but I'm also trying to let you know that's not cool, and especially not cool around me, you know?
Yeah. It seems like the only way to move towards any better level of community, right, is having, like, the feedback.
Yeah.
Which it's definitely hard. I understand the defensiveness to begin with, but I also don't think that I think there's a way to receive feedback that isn't defensive or, like, immediately on the attack.
Yeah, because, like, on the opposite end, I just had, like, a thing with this woman in town that's a friend of mine, dear friend, and she's working on a project, and I was like, that's fucky, dude. I'm like, I don't like the symbolism in that. And she was just, like, texted me and was like, hey, can we talk about it? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, this is where I'm coming from. And she was like, oh, this is where I was coming from. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, like, yeah, I was just wanting you to know how this made me feel. And she's like, wow, I'm really glad you said that. Now we have a different lens. And maybe we won't use that shoot, you know? And so, and then we were like, should we get coffee this week? You know? Which is such a different thing than, like, when I talked to that guy and was like, hey, you kind of hurt my feelings and my bandmates' feelings. And he was like, I don't know why you feel that way, because I was being the nicest I could be. And I was like, well, it wasn't nice enough, you know, or it was, like, kind of rough and abrasive, and it wasn't the way that we like to be talked to as a new band.
Yeah.
And then he yelled at me.
Damn. It seems it's so out of pocket to me, where it's just, it, like, crosses the line of, like, are you being kind? I guess maybe that, and that's, like, the moral value, right?
And I always try to come at it with, like, the most respect. Like, I come at it, I'm like, hey, I got an issue that's bothering me, can I bring it up to you?
Yeah.
Like, I always come at it with, like, a question like, hey, can we talk? Because this is bothering me. But yeah, the ego, the defensiveness, like, it's scary to do that to a man. Specifically, like, it was like I was shaking in my boots when I went up to talk to this guy. It was scary as hell. And then to have that reaction of him screaming at me in front of everybody, right before a show that I had to play, that was terrifying and like really disheartening and really empowering because I spoke up for me and my girls, and I know I didn't have to, but like I knew I had to.
Yeah.
And that was one of our best shows too. Like, I feel like, yeah, we had to get up there and I had to look at this guy our entire show, and so I just like turned some of our lyrics at him specifically, and it just really like got the fire going.
It's so interesting. It's a, I don't know, I think it's a skill to be able to take those situations and then use them as motivation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let some boy ruin my stuff that I worked so hard for, you know, like that's really where I'm at and where we all get, like, we got life, shit's going on, but we get together before our shows and we kind of do a little powwow and our little hand thing, and we kind of just let it go, like leave it off the stage, and we get up there and we're like, all right. I think the only time I let it, like, something bother me on stage was like a friend passed away and I was singing a song and like some lyrics hit for her, and like it was a mutual friend of Rhea and ours, and I looked at Rhea and she was like, yeah. And yeah, it was like the day after she passed, so I think that's the only time I really let my emotions like overcome me. But most of the time I'm like, I'm working, I'm on stage, like we have a job to do.
Absolutely, right, because it's like the performance and it's work, and it's also passion and art.
Yeah, but this is like, this is not like, this is my job. It's not work, I guess, you know, like work is what I do at the retail. This is my life's purpose. Like, it's so dramatic, but like this is everything that like my teenage self, my adolescent self has like worked for. Like, I'm finally doing it.
So cool. Is that, I think about that of like how to like realize, like it sounds cheesy maybe a little bit, but it's like, how do you realize dreams? And it is interesting because it takes work or like a job and makes it a passion. Do you have any like challenge with like balancing the art and like the work side of it, or like showing up when maybe you don't want to?
Yeah, I'm so lopsided in my work-life balance. I'd rather be poor and doing my thing than being in a 9-to-5 job. I got my hand tattooed so I can never work at a bank.
Is that you can't work at banks with it?
Some banks, but I thought I'd just like cover it and like they're called job stoppers.
That's awesome.
And I just recently turned down a job because it was going to interfere with tree fort and they had no flexibility on it, and I was like, well, I'm really excited about this job, but if you can't work with me, like, band is number one, like, over anything, so.
It seems like it's like knowing yourself and knowing priorities, and that, yeah, it's interesting because there's only so much time, right? And it's saying like, okay, well, if you sit down, I've done the math so many times where it's like, if you take a 9-to-5, like, as far as how much you have to work and if you can ever retire, the answer is usually no. And it's really weird to kind of be in that position, I guess call it like late stage capitalism or whatever you want, but it is weird to sit down and have the time and energy and space to be like, whoa, wait, like this doesn't make sense financially, and also like emotionally, like there are just jobs that 9-to-5s where you're sitting, if you're like, for you being an artist, to sit at a 9-to-5 is so in contradiction with who you are that it kind of becomes like, I guess the question I'm trying to ask is like, do you feel like there's another choice, or is it like you have to?
So like that first year that we were performing, I was so lucky and I got to live on my family's farm and my mom didn't make me pay rent. Like, I was healing from that like hospitalization. So I was like, listen, Mom, I'm gonna be rough the next 2 years. I'm gonna do therapy and I'm gonna try to figure it out. And she was like, just be good, just live. And I would like sell clothes on the side, and I sold so much shit just to have gas to go to band practice, you know? So, yeah, I didn't work for the first 2 years of having the band, and that was essential because I was living life and I was able to like do my little like 3 a.m. writing sessions. Like I'm notorious for just being awake at like 1 to 3 a.m. I'm like texting my friends, they're like, why are you awake then? And I'm like, this is my time. I'm like, I feel like the ether is a lot quieter. Everyone's asleep. So like I can finally think and like focus. So yeah, those 2 years were really important, and this year's been really hard to write music because I moved to Bend and have to pay rent, and I had to get a job, and you know I'm working 4 or 5 days a week at this job that pays nothing and just sucking my soul. But yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing that would help is just like getting a huge grant. And not having like getting my rent paid for the year, and then just like being able to create. Like, did you ever hear that Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, before she wrote that, her friends pulled together and saved up enough money so that she could be creative, and what came out of it was To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's so huge and so important, and something that I really like to remind people is that you experience art every day. And people will be like, no, I don't. I'm like, that's art up there on your wall. There's art on your radio. There's art on your TV. You know, writing, journalism is an art. So you experience it every day, and we are treated like the bottom of the barrel. And I really hope that there turns a flip as there's like so much AI and like boringness happening that they're like, oh wait, let's give it back to the creators, and like they're still making weird and new stuff where AI is like, we're just recycling.
Where there's only so much data to like pull from, right? Does those, as far as like grants and the structure goes, is there good support in this town or like at large? I don't
feel
know
like they try here. They really want to, but like there's just not enough nonprofit to go around, you know, and like there's a lot of artists that deserve it, you know. And Bend is small too. It's hard to find, but we're trying to reach out and find sponsors and like get it where we can, you know. I think that's like my biggest way I survive is just hustling.
Yeah, it seems like that's like the through line through a lot of it, which is saying like I have this vision and I'm trying to bring it to, like I know you know where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
And it's just how do you take the steps to get closer to it. Do you know what like the next step or like a next break would be for y'all?
I mean, Treefort is our next goal.
Yeah.
And I feel like the girls are always like, how are we gonna do that? And I'm like, don't worry about it. And that's kind of part of the secret. That thing I mentioned earlier is that like you have a goal, you realize it, you envision it every second of every day. You like live for that goal, and everything you do leading up to that goal is in servants of that goal. So like sometimes I sit on the couch after work and I'm like, I just want to watch Dexter and just like get high and zone out until I pass out. And that's how I lived a lot of my life, and I'm like, where does that get you? It's a time waster. And so I have to like sit on the couch and I put on Dexter, but then I grab my guitar and then I just like practice chords while I'm doing it, you know, and I can watch that and like practice my like movability on the thing. So like anything that's gonna serve me for that. Making merch, I make all of our merch. So like, yeah, being unemployed, I was the most busy I've ever been in my entire life. And it was just so delicious. I loved it so much.
It's wild when you get a taste of that, of like, it's like, it's not that you have more time, because I guess maybe sometimes I guess I used to think when I was like busy with jobs and work and stuff, it was like, oh, I just want free time. And then you get free time and you're like, I don't want time to do nothing. I want time to do the things that I actually care about.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I think that's my like whole mission in a lot of ways, is the question of like, how do we, it's the name of this podcast, right? Like how do we get more bandwidth to do the things that we care deeply about in a way that's like sustainable?
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating to me to see all the different like routes and avenues that people take, and kind of this like random series of events that lands artists specifically in a place where for one reason or another you have the time, energy, connection with certain people, right?
Yeah.
Because 3 years ago, I'm assuming like you couldn't imagine the four of y'all specifically coming together to like make.
I did though.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that like when I envisioned this band coming together, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I was creating an all-girl band, and it was going to happen. Like there was no like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, because at that point I had already like dispelled all those I don't think I can do it. Like I'm like, I was in this like crazy mindset of I can do anything, and I ebb and flow from that. It's kind of hard to stay at that high capacity, but yeah, I'm just like the girls are like, oh my god, we're gonna play our first show, and I'm like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be amazing, like, and that's what I always tell them, is that like, we practiced for this, we're ready for this, you know, like, it's scary, it's daunting, we're nervous, like, our next show we've got 3 new songs we've never played.
Cool.
And so the girls are like, it's happening. I'm like, and we practice. We've been practicing for months, so.
It seems like the importance of all of that is like, it's like an almost all gas, no brakes mentality, but like with direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so.
Cruise control on maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You're like on the highway or something,
Yeah.
but it seems really important to have the, at least someone knowing where you're going and just kind of like driving.
Yeah.
And just saying like, it's scary, yes, but like let's be our best cheerleader or like hype person and get there. Because there are so many like, I guess in this metaphor, like so many off ramps.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I guess personally for me, like, I've been in a spot where I'm like, man, we're doing so good, we're doing so great, and then something happens and I'm like, oh shit, and like I get off the off ramp and I'm like, maybe we can't do this, maybe what we're doing is wrong, like maybe like we don't have it, you know? And then something turns it around, we have band practice and it's like super fun. Our band practices are ridiculous. And you know, I get back on my on ramp, I'm like, oh okay, no, we got this. Like we got something special, like we can make it. Like
is there anything in specific that like helps you get back on the highway in that way?
I think just like thinking about playing on stage, like it's so cheesy, but like, man, there's just like nothing like making music with your friends. Like, you know it, you're a musician. Like, it's just like, it gives you this feeling inside, like, nothing, like a first kiss, love couldn't touch it. You know, like, it's a different kind of love and connection. And I just, like, being on stage, like, I look around at the girls, I like envision this a lot. Like, that's part of my like manifestation. Just like looking to my left, looking to my right, seeing Julia and Rhea, and looking behind me, seeing Kiki, and like that brings it all back. Like knowing that we have done it, we have done amazing things already. Like what's a bigger stage, you know?
Absolutely, and it's cool too because once you have the highway, you're in the car and you're driving, and you start to see the traction. You're like, oh, like, and you get the feedback too.
Yeah.
And your followers grow, or your music gets more streams. I guess it's like you start to see like this. It's almost like the prophecy starts to fulfill itself, where it's like, oh, people want to hear our music, or people want to come to our shows, and you know.
Well, that's that thing about working towards your manifestation. Like everything you do being like for that is that like, yeah, there's like, you're like, oh, this seems so far away, but you've been building that path to get there. So it's like, you're like, oh, things passed me. I did that. Like, for instance, I got a tuner pedal, and I feel like that was like crazy. And I was like kind of nervous about using it because like I didn't know how to use a tuner pedal, and so I was really hesitant for a long time and struggled and played out of key a lot. And then finally I got one, and I just went home and I just learned how to do it, and I was like, oh, I wasn't that bad. And now it's made me such a better musician, you know, and I like know how to just like, and I can do it by ear a little bit. It happened out of nowhere. Like I'm like, oh, this is out of key, out of tune, and I like tune it, and I'm like, ding, ding, I'm like, okay, it's on, and I check it, and it's on, and I'm like, yeah, I did it.
It is beautiful, especially because it like is the growth and also has all of these random wins that come along with it. And I don't know, I think that's like, it takes a lot of courage to like to dream in the first place. I feel like there's so many things like in life and in the world that kind of suggest, you know, like just get the job, just do what you're supposed to do or whatever. And so it takes is what I'm trying to say, the courage to like not just have the dream but also to pursue it. And then to like learn over time. This is something that it's been really fun to do this with like photography and videography and stuff, where it's like over time there's all of these like random things that happen where you're like, epic. Didn't see that coming. You know? So it's just, I don't know, I have a lot of respect for anyone who like is willing to chase after what they want. Or pursue it, because it's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of like what our newest song is about. It's called United States of Regret. And I kind of just I was like, what can I write that's not a love song? Because like I'm in love right now, so I can't write any breakup songs, which is what our band is kind of based on. So I kind of just like channeled like what was frustrating me the most. And it was this idea of like, if you play the game, if you get the job, if you marry and have the kid, you'll have a happy life. And I'm seeing now at 32, that's a lie. I've seen so many people do that, get divorced and do it again, quit their jobs, get another job, and they're still unhappy. So I'm like, I just, you know, one of the lyrics is, I work so hard and try my best. I gave you everything and this is what I get. So it's like, I've been like, since I was 21, I went to school, I tried to get the degree. I worked and worked and worked my whole life, and like I'm still unhappy. And so that was at that turning point. I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna be broke anyways, let's be broke and happy. Let's be broke and like wild. Let's be broke and like follow our dreams, you know? Like if I'm gonna have $2 to my name, I'd rather like be on stage performing and like go home and be like, I have $2, but that was sick as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, but I just did something cool.
I just like grew my heart, you know, like it fills you up.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to like be 90 years old and be like watching someone on stage and being like, I wish I did that. Because everything I do is for my 14-year-old self. Like I always imagine her like seeing me on stage and I'd just be like, whoa, like that's gonna be me? Like that would be wild for me at 14 to see everything I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I relate to that so much, where I think about that sometimes and I'm like, there's so much more to do, right, to grow, and like the stages in the future, whatever, will be so, hopefully so much different and bigger, and you know, all of it grows, but it's wild when you think about that, and it's like, no, the future that we're living right now, like our child selves like would be like jaw-dropping for, which I think that feels worth it.
That feels like I don't need, like I used to be, you know, growing up you're like, do my parents think this is okay? And then you get like friends and you're like, do they accept this? And then you get to relationships and you're like, do they accept me? Like at the end of the day, it's you accepting you now, and that's it. Like you being like, things are weird, but I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling like myself.
That's powerful, and it takes a while. It takes a while, at least for me, like to get there, to even know like what it means like to feel like yourself.
But I feel like you get that when you're like shooting something and like you're like editing and you're like, ooh, this is sick, you know, and like that's yourself, you know, like those little, you don't feel like yourself all the time, like that's impossible, I feel like, but I do things that I'm like, ooh, that's true life purpose, and you follow that spark and you just keep following that until maybe one day, not maybe, we will be living off of our band account and, you know, we'll all get paid and not have to work 6 jobs to do shit, be able to go on tour and not worry about, our 9 to 5s.
It's gonna be an epic day. Yeah.
It is.
It's true. It's interesting, in there you kind of talked about like happiness. I guess what's your like working definition of what it means to be happy? Because I think that plays a big piece of like what we're doing, and I guess maybe is a piece of that the like kind of fueling or like doing what your child self would be stoked on, or like what is that to you?
Yeah, I think happiness right now, especially like with things as wonky as they are, is just like chasing your moments of joy. Like I've got a show on Friday, tomorrow, I guess. Like what day is it? But for Valentine's Day, me and my boyfriend are gonna play a show at the Cellar, and like that's so cute and fun. And then after that, we have our show, and then next week I get to have lunch with my friend, and then in a couple weeks I get to go to a concert in Portland with my friend, and that's something me and my friend Emily, who's a creator as well, always talk about. Is like we like plan joy in the future to like excite us and like keep us going and motivated. So like Tree Fort got me through the winter, because like it's easy to just stay home and cancel band practice and not go to the cold garage and practice, but like we all had that fire from Tree Fort last year that we were like, oh no, we gotta practice, guys, like it's important. And we're like, we're all bundled in the garage. But it pays off.
Absolutely. And it's reminding myself that it's like worth it,
Yeah.
because it's like even the things that you're joyful on, it's like it's not always going to be this like rainbows and butterflies experience. And I think it's interesting because I a while back was just like, I'm just going for the majority of the time. I want more than 50%. It can be 50.5%.
Yeah.
But I just want the majority of the time doing things that I genuinely enjoy. And I think that in the same way has kind of revolutionized how I live as well.
And as someone who's like more of a loner, I think I'm learning that it's true that people need connection. And so like finding community, and like I apologize to my friends almost daily, like I'm so sorry I haven't seen you in 6, 7 a year. But I love you and I care about you. I'm watching you, I'm rooting for you, and like I'm finding that I need to like go and meet them and go, like I can be in my head for like 3 or 4 days and just feel so low. And I go to band practice and I'm just like, I don't even want to be here, like I don't want to. And I get to band practice and like the girls are laughing or joking or smoking pot, and I'm like, oh, this is life, or like go to the river and just feel the sun on your face and like those kind of things. But people are really like the ones that bring me back.
Absolutely, I relate to that a lot, and it's the willingness and openness to saying yes to like those experiences too. It sounds like has been like revolutionary almost in your life. Yeah, it's freaking beautiful, man.
Learning to trust people and let them hold you.
Yeah. Oof. Let me tell you, man, that's a whole other story. Yeah. Is there anything that we haven't kind of talked about yet that you would like want to talk about? And if not, is there anything that you would say to someone, or you can answer both of these, that is like kind of on the edge of committing to like a creative path?
I think one of the questions you had written out was like, what's an influential piece of work? And for me, I read Patti Smith's Just Kids in 2022 when I was dating that guy in Portland. And holy shit, that like rocked my world. It was such a beautiful story about like love and artistry and finding who you are and who you are as an artist, and like the love you have for music and yourself and other people, and how all of that can change and transform, and that's what creates who you are. And I really took away from that like you gotta just let life mold you, and like you gotta just like, you're walking on the street of New York and someone's like, hey, there's a show at the Roxy, like come through. You go through and you meet this person, like the catalyst that happened when you just let life happen to you. And I think that was like so eye-opening to me. Like obviously we don't live in the 60s in New York, and it's not the Chelsea Hotel, but you know, I feel like I try to live with Patti Smith in mind. Like, have you seen her lately?
Mm-hmm.
She's like almost 80 years old, rocking the fuck out of the stage still. I saw her in Portland last year.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. And I got her to sign my book somehow. I don't know how it happened, but I did. And yeah, that book that was one of my big turning points, was just like, when you're a creative, things just fall into your lap because the universe wants you to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times society forces us to dampen that creativity because it's too weird, too wild. It's not in the status quo. And yeah, I think as creatives, we just gotta like find those little sparks and just like follow them.
Absolutely. It's I know that I don't know, conversations like this, they motivate me in so many ways because it's so true. As soon as you start saying yes, it does seem that kind of pieces start to fall together.
Yeah.
And it's wild because a lot of that is in the trust of what is going to play out, even though you have no idea.
Yeah.
And this like almost like relinquishing control,
Mm-hmm.
but at least starting to move in the direction that you think might be cool,
Yeah.
you know, or joyful or satisfying in whatever way. And that hopefully when we're 80 years old, right, we can look back and be like, or even experience it, right?
Yeah.
Of like, we made some good choices, you know?
I mean, like, I've shaved my head,
Mm-hmm.
got a head tattoo, I've played on stage, I've jumped off a bridge. Like, there are things in my life that I'm like, I don't know if I need to do it again, but I'm so glad I did it, you know? But yeah, I'm glad, like, it was like 2018, someone saw me on Facebook playing music and was like, hey, do you want to be in this all women showcase? And I was like, yes. Like, just right away I typed yes.
Mm.
And I was like, what am I doing? I don't know how to play on stage. What the fuck? And like, I got off that stage after performing and I was like, well, that's the end of it. That's all she wrote. I'm a musician now.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's funny the things that kind of mold our path, and then you hit something and you're like, well, I can't imagine life any differently now. So you know.
Yeah.
Damn, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I guess we have 2 more things, unless you have anything else you wanna.
No, this is great.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm so stoked. Thank you for coming through.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'd say we'll start with the question.
Okay.
I explained it a little bit, but the last person that came on wrote a question in here. I'll read it to you. I actually haven't looked at this one yet,
Oh, secret.
so I don't know what it is. And you'll have time to write in it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
The question we have today is, tell me about the last time you cried.
Oh man, I'm doing some deep therapy right now, and it's not funny, but I got the news that, I mean, I guess it was just like a bombardment of like presidential bullshit, just one after the other, and I went to therapy, and she was like, hey, how's it going? And I just cried for an hour in her office, just about feeling so out of control and like feeling like my life is just like, you know, everything we know is just hanging in the balance. And what I learned from that therapy session was I can only control what I can control, and so I'm just going to adapt and adjust. So when I go to the grocery store and there's no avocados, I'm just gonna adjust. And I'm not gonna freak out about it. I'm just gonna do something else. And you know, if we can't get the stuff that we need, I think this is a good time to start doing the things we need for ourselves, like growing our own food and like building community. Like, I think I've seen a big surge of that lately. Just small farms in town doing like co-op shares, and like, I mean, we have eggs we share with our neighbors and they give us apples and, you know, whatever. Like, I think that's bartering trading is going to be essential coming up. But yeah, like I said, very type A, so I'm learning to just like relinquish that control and just like know that I put myself in the best places that I can. And so I'll just let the universe take it from there.
That's what's up. No, it's incredible. I think throughout all of this, something that I respect a lot is like your ability to take adversity and like sit, reflect, and then take action. And I think that is an incredible and defining quality, and will move mountains. Yeah.
And I think everyone has the ability to do that. I let my depression and fear bury me for many, many, many years. And that didn't let me connect with people. So I think that's important to just turn all the weird stuff into good weird stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, I didn't know that like everyone's a little weird, so you know, yeah, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. The last piece, if you have it,
I do.
And everyone has given like a little breakdown of what it is and
What camera do I show it at?
Let's do this one, yeah.
This one? Okay, I brought this little stone that says imagine because I'm super into like manifesting. So this is my little way of telling people like just shoot for the stars.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful to continue to build this little plant trash.
Mushroom and Hendrix in there. Put it on there. What is this thing? Oh, it's from a little Lego plant.
Yeah.
Sick. I love that.
I'm excited for it to grow.
Thanks for having me, Sage. That
Yeah,
was amazing.
I really appreciate you taking the time in the morning to come and chat. So, yeah.
I was a friend of mine.